Good morning, everybody, and welcome to In the Loop Weekend Ag Talk, brought to you by Alphen Insurance Agency. I hope you've had a good week. Enjoyed the rain that we got here. Hopefully, you're getting to kick back this weekend and relax a little bit and catch up on some much needed rest. This is being recorded on Friday morning. I'm taking the day off to go spend some time with family. So, when we jump into the markets here, we'll be looking at how they closed on Thursday evening. So, let's head to the markets. As of close Thursday afternoon, March corn was at 653 after a fairly good week of trade. March wheat at 757. Wheat also had a fairly decent week of trade. March cotton at 8103 and December 23 cotton at 7964. January soybeans were at 1473 Thursday evening at close after a very strong week of trade. The second largest sale of the year occurred on Wednesday. When we look at in the news NC Ag highlights, going to read a few things out of the NC Small Grain Growers Association newsletter, saying turnaround times for routine nematode testing expected to be long. The North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Nematode Assay Lab is warning North Carolina growers to expect turnaround times of 15 weeks or longer for routine predictive nematode samples submitted this year. Samples submitted for diagnostic testing include molecular diagnosis of guava root knot nematode species will be given priority, and the results should be available in around 5 working days. Currently, there are around 15,400 samples awaiting analysis. In other news from our friends over at the NC Small Grain Growers Association, says seasonal offerings abound at NC farms this winter. Residents and visitors looking for farms that offer outdoor experiences and unique gift ideas this holiday season will have plenty of options, with many winter agritourism activities planned at farms across the state. Light shows, holiday festivities, craft markets, and wine tastings are among the seasonal offerings. Visitors can find farm experiences across the state by downloading the Visit NC Farms app with over 2,000 farms, fisheries, and agricultural destinations nearby across the state. The free app is available by downloading from the App Store on your mobile device. To learn more about the app, go to www.visitncfarmstoday.com, or activities can also be found at www.gottobeinc.com. And while we're talking small grains, just some reminders from Dr. Angela Post of field days coming up. The first one will be in the Southern Piedmont Field Day on February 7th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's hosted by Union County Director Andrew Balcom and the farmer cooperator Drew Medlin. The location will be off Hagler Balcom Road in Unionville. The second field day will be the following week on February 15th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., hosted by the NE Ag Expo team and farmer cooperator Billy Mercer. This location will be on Florida Road in Elizabeth City. The third and final event will be the Central Piedmont Field Day on March 1st from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., hosted by the Piedmont Research Station on Sherrills Ford Road in Salisbury. Hopefully, all of you can attend at least one of these field days and see what's going on with small grains in North Carolina in 2023. When we jump into U.S. and world news, according to Rabobank, fertilizer prices will be lower in 2023, which is much needed relief for U.S. farmers. A new Rabobank report says recovery and consumption is possible in some regions next year, with fertilizer prices lowering and commodity prices at historically high levels. The affordability index's moving average is trending lower as fertilizer prices are returning to pre-Ukraine war levels, according to the report. For the next 3 months, the index will continue to trend downward but remain above normal. The key point to watch is for nitrogen products, as the natural gas crisis in Europe has the potential to make urea and ammonia more expensive and could keep the index at high levels. Rabobank says the nitrogen based fertilizer market is the most volatile among all fertilizers due to its connection with oil and natural gas markets. As these commodities get more volatile, urea and ammonia prices are expected to go along with the tide. A quick reminder on the Ag Census. The Census of Agriculture, taken only once every 5 years, looks at the land use and ownership, operator characteristics, production practices, income, and expenditures. For America's farmers and ranchers, the Census of Agriculture is their voice, their future, and their opportunity. The census was mailed out on November 2022, and the response deadline is February 23rd. In other farm news, it said labor challenges increase farm economy pressures. Labor demands continue to tax the bottom line of farmers and ranchers, with raising wage rates and record usage of the H-2A visa program. Meaningful reforms to the federal government's guest worker program must be a priority for Congress by the end of the year. The American Farm Bureau Federation, along with 350 other food and farm organizations, are part of the Ag Workforce Coalition, and they sent a letter urging Senate to pass legislation to address the nation's agricultural workforce challenges before the end of the 117th Congress. Two other announcements in the news this week. The CPI Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers rose 0.1% in November on a seasonally adjusted basis, after increasing 0.4% in October, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Over the last 12 months, all items index increased 7.1% before the seasonal adjustment. Looks like the biggest thing going up is shelter. That's the largest contributor of going up, followed by energy indexes, which are starting to decrease a little bit, but still sitting there at the top. In other areas this week, the Federal Reserve raised interest rate by zero point 0.5 percentage points to curb inflation, but they're still talking about steeper hikes ahead. The Fed raised a key short term interest rate on Wednesday, dialing back some recent outsized hikes as it draws up an end game in its aggressive campaign to tame soaring inflation. The central bank forecast another 0.75% increase next year, more than it previously estimated. Fed officials are thus signaling they believe inflation is still too high and aren't backing off of hard-nosed battle to subdue it despite growing recession risk. Looks like interest rates will continue to climb a little bit, but hopefully taming some of this inflation. And maybe one of these days we can get back to a normal economy here. Folks, that about does it for this edition of In the Loop Weekend Ag Talk, brought to you by Alphen Insurance Agency. We thank you for tuning in, and we thank you to all the farmers who help feed and clothe America. As we finish up the last couple of weeks of 2022, we've omitted a few of our segments here, but we'll be jumping back into things like women in agriculture, community spotlights, looking back in time, behind the scenes at Alphen Insurance, and doing more something to consider segments. If you got ideas on things you'd like to hear about, like to learn about, send us a message through email or give us a call. We'll be glad to gather your information, do some research, and put it out on our weekly video. Enjoy your week leading up to Christmas this week. Stay safe in all you do. Enjoy some time with family and friends. And remember to keep mental health a priority at the farm and at home. Make time for yourself. Make time for others. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for tuning in. Have a good week.